So we're going to look at the basic reports that all companies utilize, which are your balance sheet and income statement. Now in this lesson, we are going to focus on the balance sheet, and so let's go ahead and look at that. Again, we're at our main screen. How we find our reports. If you're in the business view, it's under business overview. If you're in the accountant's view, there will be a section down here called reports, and you can quickly get to your reports that way. So let's click on business overview. And you notice here you have options over here. We're just going to go to our reports. We're going to look at our balance sheet. First thing we notice is how we can construct our balance sheet. Very important to make sure this is set up correctly so that you get the information that you need, specifically for, say, a time frame or time period. So we are going to look at the different options we can do. The default is this year to date, but as you can see on the drop down, we can have lots of different presets that we can go through. We can also do a custom one, or we can do all dates, something very quick if we need that. We're going to do this year to date. So it's in 22nd, but we're going to run the balance sheet at the end of August. So we want to make sure that this is set to August 31st. Now we can display the columns, and the columns are just these line items down through here. And if we do the drop down, we have a few presets that QuickBooks gives us. We can do the total. On balance sheet, typically it's best to do the total, but there are different areas that we can do underneath here if we want to. This next line item over is we can show non-zero or active only. So if we only want the active accounts that had transactions in them for that particular time period, we would just click on active. If we want everything, whether there's active or inactive, we can always change that to all. Or we can show the rows where there are only non-zero accounts. So if you have an account that shows up as 0, basically what will happen is QuickBooks will just eliminate that. You can always just hit active. And again, we can show our columns accordingly here. Now, if we want to compare this, say to last year at the same time, we can always go up here and do previous year. QuickBooks gives us an option to do a dollar amount change or a percentage change, or we can add both of them there. What will happen is it will create a column for both. We can always do a custom period here. If we wanted it to compare to, say, a custom period, maybe a quarter or something, we can always click on that and do that there. Or if we just want to have the percentage of the row or the column, we can click on those as well here. Obviously, row is your right and left, and column is your up and down. So QuickBooks gives you all the options right here. And then for accounting method, remember we set up the default in the general account and settings. So we either defaulted it to cash or accrual, but QuickBooks on every single report that you generate, we can always change this to cash or accrual if we want to, and then we would just run the report. So here's our balance sheet, and there's a lot of different things we can do on this. on a simple balance sheet, again, it goes based on your chart of accounts. So we'll always have our current assets first, followed by our fixed assets, and then our long-term assets. So it kind of goes down there, and we get our total assets here. And then we have a liability and equity accounts. Now understand, in the basic balance sheet, our assets always equal our liabilities and equity. And same thing, we have our current liabilities first, and then followed by our long-term liabilities, then our equity accounts. That's our basic balance sheet. Now, once we have this set, we can always change names, how it's reported, the look on it. And for instance, if this isn't the correct name, we can always change it here. If we wanted to do a balance sheet, say in an accrual basis, we might put -accrual. Or if we wanted to change the name for whatever reason, we always can there. And we can get out of that. We can always collapse our account by clicking collapse, or we can expand them out. That's if we have different sub-accounts underneath here. If you collapse them, then it will just be the parent accounts. Over here, we can always sort. Our default is always clicked, but we can always sort it by ascending order or descending order if you want. Some reports, you may want to do that. We can always add notes down here. Real good if you wanted to add additional information for the people that are running the reports. You can always put that information down here. And again, we can edit our titles. This is the section that are showing up. If you don't like how QuickBooks sets that up, you can always go through here and edit those so that your balance sheet is set up the way you want it set up. QuickBooks gives you a lot of options right from this screen to be able to edit the balance sheet. Now, once everything is set right, if you want to email that to someone, you can click on email, and then it will show this screen, and you can change the orientation to landscape. If you want to, you can unclick Smart Pages or anything like that. You can always edit your balance sheet. Maybe you wanted to, highlight some things. You could just highlight that right here by using the basic editing tools on QuickBooks up here. You can always save it to somewhere, print it immediately, and always use your settings tool there. So you can email it, or you can save it as a PDF, or you can print it. If you want to print directly from this, you would just hit print right here, and it will take you to your print screen. Now, we can also export this. Great feature in QuickBooks. We can export it to an Excel file, or we can export this to a PDF right from this screen right up here. And again, we're in the compact version. If you wanted to change that, you can always change that there. Now, if you wanted to get into more customization of this particular report, you can always go up here to customize. This will pop out, and we can go through here and really get down and customize it. Especially down here in filters, we can filter certain things. We can add headers and footers, and we can add, say, maybe the time prepared or anything like that, or unclick them if you don't want them. And we can also align those left, right, or center. So here is the basic balance sheet, and you can do a lot with it. once you customize it, you can save it as a customization so that when you run balance sheets, it will show up the way you want it, especially if you spend some time and really get it the way you like it. Definitely save that. So that is the balance sheet, and this is the basic form for all companies. And now we're going to go ahead and move on into the profit and loss and look at some of the stuff that we can do with the profit and loss.
I gotcha.